Hello, my name is Kirk Williams. I'm the senior teacher with the Viticulture Certificate Program, and today we're going to be doing a titration in order to figure out how much acid to use to clean out your drip irrigation lines that may be clogging for various reasons, such as calcium carbonates or bicarbonates. So we're going to walk through the process of determining how much to put in a known amount of water. And then we will need to figure out how much is going to go into the irrigation system. So we are working with acids, and so eye protection is very important. And so, and gloves are very important. And if you value your clothes, probably some sort of covering for your clothes is important. So we'll put on the safety equipment. So several different products that you could use to deal with buildup on your emitters from calcium carbonates or bicarbonates. One of them is muriatic acid. Another acid is sulfuric acid. And then there's a product that's a little bit safer called infuric. So it's a mixture of sulfuric acid as well as a nitrogen source. So in addition to cleaning out your irrigation lines, it also provides some nutrients for the vines. So with that, we'll kind of go through some steps. So the first thing, we do have calibrated pH meters. So using buffer solutions, we've already calibrated it. So we've done that step, but whatever pH meter you're using, whether it's a benchtop pH meter or a handheld pH meter, they will need to be calibrated before use. And so the first thing is to get the acid into a smaller container. So we'll do that. And we won't really need a lot, so just a small amount will be more than enough to take care of what it is we're doing. You can find calibrated pipettes that would allow you to put in just a certain amount of acid. So that would probably be the easiest thing to use. So we do have a magnetic stir, so we'll get that started. Obviously, people in the wine industry are probably going to have better access to this than those that don't have some of this lab equipment. So, all right, so our benchtop pH meter is giving us a reading of 7.63 pH. So that's our start point. Now then, with this relatively small amount of water, we will add relatively small amounts of acid until we get to about a 3.0 pH level. So we're trying to drop the pH from 7.8 to 3.0 so that we introduce the acid into the irrigation system with a relatively short amount of time so that we can get the acid to dissolve some of those built up deposits. So I'm going to do this just a milliliter at a time. Okay, so that is a milliliter acid, so we'll add it slowly. Okay, so we have added a milliliter of acid to 500 milliliters of water, and we have dropped the pH to 2.3, so it kind of maybe overshot what it was we're looking for, but still from kind of that shock effect of putting acid into volume of water, that's what we're trying to do. So. If you're just a vineyard owner-operator, you may not have a benchtop meter like a winery and vineyard would. So if you just have a handheld meter and none of the other fancy equipment, you can still do the titration to figure out how much acid you need to add to your irrigation. lines. So once again, we have a known amount of water, 500 milliliters. Our handheld pH meter says it's 7.57, so a little bit of difference between what the benchtop says and what the handheld meter was saying. So to stir the water, since we don't have a magnetic stir, we're just going to use a pipette like that you would use in doing Brix reading on a refractometer. So we'll use that as our stirring stick. So all these things you could have on hand fairly easily. We're going to use a half a milliliter of acid. And we'll start adding it just a drop at a time. And we'll stir it around. Okay, so that's pretty much our half a milliliter of acid and 500 milliliters of water, and we've dropped the pH 2.7, well, 2.6, so definitely in the range that we want to be to kind of drop that acid, to kind of do a shock acid treatment of removing some of the buildup that would be happening in those drip emitters.